Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in. We have a lot to talk about. This is a very important segment, and we're going to talk about how the security footage plays a huge role in Trump's defense and in undermining any indictment. He'll very likely eventually get indicted. Not because he committed a crime, because they are desperate to knock him out of 24. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about how a conviction is almost impossible because of that security footage, especially the footage from June, not just August, June of 2022. Hit subscribe right now to this channel. Thank you for subscribing to all three channels and to my super chat. I can't do this without you. You're very generous. You're really wonderful. And I thank you very, very much. Ladies and gentlemen, so to my super chat, if you want to bring up anything, any discussion, please go ahead. Within the next 3 minutes, I'll try my best to give you everything that I'm going to talk about in the next hour. Now, ladies and gentlemen, hello, everybody, hello. He has security footage. They visited Trump in June, not just August. They were in contact with Trump for about a year. Okay? They were in contact with Donald Trump for about 1 year. If law enforcement is in contact with you for a year, and you show them you're basically negotiating with government agencies, law enforcement, and you take them to your office, and you show them boxes of information that they want, and they actually write you a thank you letter, which is what the Federal Bureau of Investigation did with Trump. Write him a thank you letter. Wrote him a thank you letter. How many times are you going to get a thank you letter from the Federal Bureau of Investigation? Okay? Not often. It's going to be very difficult when and if, very likely when, they indict Trump because they can't stand him. They just have utter contempt for him. To say that he tried to deceive and dupe when he was given a thank you letter by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, told to just simply put another lock on the storage facility, introduced them to, showed them all the documents that he has. The one thing they could get him on is that he had more classified data than what he originally told. The interesting thing is, with Clinton, and you always have to compare how they treat Trump with how they treat Democrats like Hillary and Hunter. And I want a Hillary-Trump 2024. Desperately, I want that. Clinton had secret servers outside of the United States government. Trump was literally working with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. How Trump's interactions with the Federal Bureau went from sweet to sour. Okay? At one time, everything was just fine with Trump and the Federal Bureau of Investigation for a couple months or so. Okay? So Clinton had secret servers. Trump was negotiating with the National Archives and Department of Justice. If you say, well, that's not up for negotiation. Okay. Comey couldn't find, you know what, let's just go here. We'll go right here. You can type in, we'll get to inflation and food prices in a second, because that's what this is all about. We have inflation through the roof. The economy is tanking. And, household median incomes were at record highs under Trump in 2019. We had a record low in poverty in 2019 as well. And now we have poverty at close to 15%. It was close to 10% under Trump. Poverty has increased. We have a recession. It's going to be a terrible recession. And layoffs are going to increase, unfortunately. As I beg for Super Chat, save your money. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to get bad. Real bad. But here, let's say Comey 2016 July conference. Okay, so statement by FBI is right here. And when they say nobody's above the law, Above the Law was a great rap group in the 90s. One of the greatest, one of the most awesome rap groups, Above the Law. They were amazing. But here, nobody's above the law. Trump. Okay, hold on one second. Although there is evidence right here, although there is evidence of potential violations of the statutes regarding handling of classified information, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor will bring such a case. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case. No reasonable prosecutor. Isn't that interesting? Okay? No reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It's right there. So they're going to try to get Trump on owning classified data when he, like, the removal or the ownership of data, not even classified, of just government records. Because that's really the only thing they could get him on. And they're going to be petulant and just try their best to just take him down. That's it. That's the only thing they're going to try to do. Because what took place is he had the right to own those documents as a former president. He wasn't doing anything nefarious with them. They might be linked to the Durham Probe Special Counsel. That's a possibility. Okay? But one of the things that he's going to have a difficult time initially explaining Trump is why he had the documents at Mar-a-Lago and why he didn't give them to the National Archives, even though it's really not that big of a deal. And you had other presidents doing similar things, but utilizing bureaucracy. So President Obama, for example, has 30 million unclassified documents that are supposed to be digitized. Okay, they are not. They are not on the internet. They're not on his digital library. And so nobody has access to them. Okay? So you can say it's not a leap of logic to say there's a lot of information there that he's trying to hide from the public. Okay? You could look down the presidents that have left office have never left office in the manner that Trump did. At first, they were petrified that Trump wouldn't leave ever, that he would just be forced to leave. Then he left, and they don't like the way he left. They are absolutely obsessed with this man. And like, look at Mashed Potato Brains, the horror movie. The frightening, just this movie, this frightening backdrop that he had here really quickly. So you have that, and just really quickly, let's see. Let's see. Mashed Potato Brains. I mean, this is like not even normal. These are the people who are supposed to be warning you about democracy. Oh, democracy, our values. Oh, look at our values. Oh, my God. I mean, are you kidding? I mean, you have to be joking. What is this? I have never seen something so stupid in my life. What was the point of this? Okay, you already have most liberal Democrats disowning friends and family anyway. Like, what more do you want? The average liberal Democrat doesn't have any Trump-supporting friends. They've disowned every Trump supporter that they know. So it's like, what are you doing? What's the point of this? To get them even more hysterical and apoplectic? It's not possible. It is not possible. They have thought, people on the general, lifelong, wonderful, morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrats, I would say about 1 or 2%, or maybe 5%, or maybe 10%, have critical thinking skills, and they put friendship and loyalty and character and integrity above groupthink. They don't like Trump. and they despise him maybe, but they still care about lifelong friends and family. Then you have the 90+%, 90 or so, or 80 to 90% that are just basically sheep. Luke St. Martin! I love the smell of the... their desperation overstinks to high heaven. Thank goodness for Ozium and fishing rods. Shalom on me. Luke St. Martin. Thank you. You are wonderful, Luke, and thank you for all those years of just being, along with Eric, the best moderators in all of YouTube. Thank you, Luke. Greatly appreciated. Yeah, it is desperation, Luke. It is desperation. I don't understand. Thank you so very much, and it's so true. I can smell it too. It could be mashed potato brains and him going to the bathroom. So I could smell. It could be that could be the smell, but it's actually. I can smell the fear also. They are desperate because they know that people, if they cannot win without making it only about Trump. The only selling point to being a Democrat now, since poverty has increased and people are doing worse in terms of the economy, is this irrational contempt for Trump that 90% of Democrats, you have to understand, Luke St. Martin, Eric, everybody here, remember I told you this, everybody. Remember I told you, did I not tell you that it doesn't matter? G. Corber, hello, everybody here, hello. Did I not tell you that they would rather have a recession with ICBMs, God forbid, flying above? They would rather have a recession with terrible geopolitics and a horrible foreign policy and a person that slurs his speech than Trump. They'd rather vote against their interests because Trump has broken their spirit. Trump has broken whatever was left of their spirit, and it's honestly, the Democrats would. Democratic voters would rather have a recession. If you vote Democrat in the midterms, you are saying, I am okay with inflation at 9%. I'm okay with real wages at 4.4% or so, negative. And I would rather have Biden. I would rather have mashed potato brains, who slurs his speech and who basically is all over the place all the time. Because I truly believe that Make America Great Again and the record highs in household median income, record lows in poverty, first president to step foot in North Korea, signed First Step Act, actually, well, for a lot of people it's very important, moved the embassy to Jerusalem, Doha Agreement, Abraham Accords, actually signed an executive order combating anti-Semitism on college campuses. So many great things this man did, especially in terms of the economy. We were growing. Hundreds of thousands of new manufacturing jobs. They don't care. Chris, hello. Thank you for watching from the UK. To my viewers in the UK and in Australia and around the world, thank you so very, very much. They don't care. They would rather have a recession, and the reason is because they're obsessed with this man. Look, it is not normal or rational to have mashed potato speak with a red backdrop. I mean, this is like this is the most hilarious theatrical performance you've ever seen in your life. And just to let you know, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think people realize this. Do you know what percentage of the time? I always bring this up, but here we'll do a poll here. What? And thank you very much, Luke St. Martin. Thank you so very much to my super chat. Thank you. What percentage of the time did Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger vote with Donald Trump in Congress? Okay. Is it over 90%? Or below 90%? So here, I always bring this up, so Below 90%. Let's just go ahead and... What percentage of the time, ladies and gentlemen? Okay? What percentage of the time? That's right. So you're talking about over 90% of the time. Over 90%. So there, I gave you the answer. Over 90% of the time, according to 538. Now, you would think it would be like, you would think they're always voting against Trump. It was actually over 90% of the time. And so, you would think that when they say they never Trump Republicans, Kari Lake's, I did just a quick, Google search of Kari Lake and her Republican challenger in Arizona. They were saying basically the same things. The difference is that Kari Lake was more passionate, and perhaps the rhetoric was a bit more, heated. But they were saying basically the same things. Then you have people saying, oh, well, you know what? Trump's candidates aren't going to do well. There's not that much of a difference between the rhetoric of a Trump Republican campaigning and the rhetoric or the campaign messaging of a never Trump Republican. Pretty much the same thing, except that a Trump Republican will actually go ahead. I think that he'll release the video either after he's indicted in court or before that to show the world that he has the goods. Now, getting back to the video really quickly, the video he has on June 3rd, the CCTV is always running at Mar-a-Lago. That's something that I'm going to do a segment tomorrow morning. That's something that people don't realize. So here you go. Trump and family watched Bureau search from New York on closed circuit TV. But the closed circuit TV is not just running in August. It's running all the time. They visited him in June. So I can't give anybody an exact date of when he's going to release the footage, but the footage will be released. That's one of the most important defenses, and it's a great offense too. So here you have Trump and family watched FBI search from New York on closed circuit TV. Former President Donald Trump's lawyer says the president and his family were able to watch much of the Mar-a-Lago raid from New York because of a closed-circuit television system was still on. Closed-circuit TV runs all the time in almost all of those rooms. What people don't realize is that he has the Bureau in June. I believe they visited Mar-a-Lago also throughout that year. The defense that he has is, how can you convict a former president when the president is negotiating and actually meeting with FBI officials and agents, and he has the video of each encounter? That's important. That's very important. And so that's huge. Yes, I supported Bernie Sanders. I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. And I didn't want to vote for Clinton. I was still on the left, so I voted for Jill Stein, if you could believe that, of the Green Party. And my focus was on a foreign policy that was the antithesis of the Lincoln Project. Then I realized that Trump was that. Trump is the antithesis of the Lincoln Project. I thought Jill Stein probably, the Green Party is, aside from foreign policy, I would have now I'm a lot more conservative on a lot of things. So, but I think the anti-war element, the two sides who are against never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts would be Trump and the small number of the far left. Most of the left has no problem with Lincoln Project. But anyway, so if somebody says they supported Bernie Sanders, like, yeah, I did. But I supported Bernie Sanders in large part because I wanted a great economy and I wanted a great foreign policy where we removed Americans from never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. Trump did those things. So, but it's important. It's very, very important to, it's very, very important to understand that he has security footage of every time any government official visited Mar-a-Lago. The indictment will be based very likely on Trump owning classified documents. But if he can prove that government officials knew that he owned classified documents, he owned classified documents. From the second he left office, he had those classified documents, and the government knew that. And only after a year and a half did they indict him, or 2 years or 2.5 years. His defense could be, hey, look, we've been negotiating for 2 years. This isn't something that I was hiding. And so it's very different from secret servers funneling top secret and classified data. You can't pretend to care about classified data. You can't pretend to care about classified data when you gave a free pass to somebody who was funneling classified data outside of the United States government. So if you look at Comey's, if you look at the statement right here, he already states, although there is evidence of potential violations of the statutes regarding classified information, although there is evidence of potential violations of the statutes regarding classified information, he's stating right there. He's stating that right there. It's right there. You have Comey stating that there were violations of the law. And this was a surreptitious, secret endeavor. This was not something that he was hiding. That's the difference. This wasn't something that Trump was hiding. Clinton was hiding, or they knew. But it's like you keep Lou Maldonado. Don't fall for Joe's bait. They're desperate. Exactly. Well, I mean that whole thing was like, I don't understand. The hysteria regarding Trump is very effective. It's literally the only thing Democrats are running on. It's the only thing Democrats are running on. The economy, Lou, thank you so much. The economy is worse. We have an economy that is worse than what it was. G. Corber, thank you. Thank you, G. Corber. Thank you very, very much. Greatly appreciated. Lou Maldonado, thank you so much, Lou. Thank you. To my super chat, I can't do this without you. I really appreciate your support. G. Corber, Lou Maldonado, they have nothing. So they have to make it all about Trump. They have to make it all about Trump. If it's not about Trump, what are they going to point to? What can they point to? What on earth can they point to? The economy is terrible. Geopolitics is a nightmare. He keeps on sending tens of billions of dollars to a country that's being invaded under his watch, and we have no clue if it's making a difference. So this is the foreign policy. instead of negotiating some kind of peace, God forbid he would negotiate some kind of peace. You wouldn't want some kind of peace negotiated, right? And so it's just sent tens of billions. The carnage, unfortunately, had already taken place. So, see, again, it's like everything that happens under Biden is like muted. It's this muted reaction. It's like, well, it wasn't his fault. He couldn't do anything. Anything in the known universe that takes place that's negative is Trump's fault. Directly his fault. And so, let's just look real quickly. Feds removed documents from Mar-a-Lago in June with grand jury subpoena. They were already removing documents. They were already in a process. So, I mean, how do you indict him for removal of documents when you were already negotiating with him? They'll probably indict him on something, just because that's the only hope they have. And an indicted Trump will probably, this is the thing, Trump gets indicted, his poll numbers will go up. Everybody on the planet will know that they'll be picking on Trump. They did the same thing to Bernie Sanders too. They investigate as a way to intimidate, and when they relish in investigating innocent people. So Trump was innocent. He didn't work. He didn't collude with the Kremlin. That was an absurd fantasy funneled through the United States government with a Steele dossier purchased by Clinton. He didn't do anything wrong with his tax returns. He didn't pressure anyone illegally in Georgia. They found nothing. They found absolutely nothing on him. But they have to. The only thing they can do is indict him, because you're going to have impeachment of Joe. So the next 2 years, beginning in November, actually beginning in January, but beginning in November, you'll have Trump Republicans taking over the House. Whether or not it's barely or overwhelmingly, that's not relevant. You'll still have Trump Republicans take over the House. They will run the House Judiciary, House Intel Committee, and House Oversight Committee. Those three committees will be front and center in impeaching mashed potato brains for actual crimes. Like, you don't have to investigate for 6 years. You don't need like this big investigation. You already have emails. Lined up face pony soldier, thank you. Thank you for being a member for so long. How does America react to a Trump? It wouldn't be a I don't think it would be a perp walk. Well, I don't think it would be a perp walk. As a former president. He would be indicted. And then he would, if he goes to trial, I don't think it would be a perp walk. Because that would be actually hurting the Democratic Party as well. That's a good point, though. That's a good point. It could be. I don't know. I think that no matter what they do to him, lying dog-faced pony soldier, he's like the Obi-Wan Kenobi of American politics. Anything they do to him, he just gets stronger. So anything they do to Trump, he gets stronger. The reason being, his adversaries are disingenuous, and they're full of malice, and they're just petulant. They really don't care about the truth. Like, they say that Trump lies all the time. Go and look up, ladies and gentlemen, when you're bored. Look up Trump's 15 greatest lies after 4 years on CNN. They're not these grandiose lies. Now go ahead and compare them to Hillary with private service for convenience, or President Obama promising democracy in Libya. And that didn't happen. The opposite did. I mean, when and then President Obama saying he didn't know that Clinton had servers. Or Bush with WMD. You could say, well, there weren't lies. You can't prove that they were lies. Like, well, you can pretty much say that they weren't telling the truth and they were deceptive. With the servers, you knew that there's inherent to owning private service is the intent to hide. Comey, for example, lied through his teeth. These people lie all the time. They say Trump lies all the time. It's like, well, when Democrats lie, when they, like, for example, Bill Clinton meeting Loretta Lynch, Attorney General Lynch, at a tarmac in Phoenix. David, I think you're right. I think that's actually, it could very well, Trump could very well be saying, go ahead and indict me. It'll only help me. But I think when you look at the lies told, a fair and neutral primary, Bernie Sanders, they say, was given a fair and neutral primary. That is a worse lie than anything Trump has ever told. When they say that everything from, well, there was no intent to own these servers. Joe making a whole bunch of lies, one of which we can't really discuss. But you can just look at the lies that they tell have to do with national security. It actually harmed, damaged national security to say that Trump colluded with a foreign country. That is, you're playing into the hands of somebody that wants to just harm the United States. When you accuse Trump of something he didn't do, which is that's all they've done for 6 years, they haven't indicted him because they don't have anything on him. They will eventually indict him, knowing very well he'll win a court trial. I think that they'll probably indict him. They'll probably indict him after midterms. I can't say if it's. I'm not making a firm prediction on that, but you have to understand, it's probably a very good thing for Donald Trump. Okay. It's probably a very good thing. Well, it's been 6 years, so if you can't, you know how long it would take to indict Hunter or Hillary or anyone on the left or Joe for lying about working with Hunter's business associates? Why did he lie? I mean, that is a lie infinitely worse than anything Trump has ever told. What could be worse than graft and kickbacks? Trump was never accused of. Well, he was accused of that initially. Actually, that was the whole thing. There was supposed to be compromise on him. Then they investigated him and found there was complete nonsense. Then when you have Hunter and Joe, the reaction is, oh well, kickbacks no problem. With Trump, it's compromise. Oh my God. With Trump, it's compromise. Well, if he did, then they will indict him. But they haven't indicted him yet after 6 years. So there you go. It would take 2 seconds to indict a number of Democrats because there's evidence within their emails and within 150 suspicious financial transactions and within hundreds of millions of dollars going into a foundation and beneficial treatment taking place. And Joe forcing out a prosecutor after his son got an email or was getting emails around the time emails stating, how can you use your influence on the company's behalf while he's getting paid by that specific company? So, the reason that he would benefit from an indictment is that everyone knows they just despise him. They don't really care. The rule of law entails that you treat everyone fairly. Not that you obsess over trying to, like when they say, well, Trump wanted to lock you-know-who up. Yeah, but she committed crimes. That's the difference. Trump didn't commit crimes. If you say that you want to lock somebody up and they committed crimes, it's a different story. It's not a partisan thing to say that Hunter and others within the Democratic Party committed crimes. It's not a partisan thing to say the DNC engaged in a crime by telling people that it was fair and neutral when they had a complete joke of a primary in 2016. The same thing happened 4 years later. These are the people who claim to stand upon all these virtues. It's like, exactly. Libra of Eden, exactly. That's why I say, like, Trump getting indicted is not. It's not only is it not the end of the world. Jordan B. If they had anything on DJT, it would have already been leaked to the media. Exactly. No, I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. That is a great point. That is a great point, and I do agree with you on that. Jordan B, thank you so very much. That is true. The only thing that I would add is that they'll probably, Jordan, thank you so very much, by the way. They'll probably, the removal of classified documents, they could indict him on, which is something they didn't indict Clinton on, but they could actually indict him on it. And they could actually indict him on it. But then his defense would be, you know what, the government knew. How are you going to convict me? They're going to have to show intent to do something nefarious or intent to deceive the government. It's like, there was no intent to deceive. How can you have the intent to deceive when you are negotiating the return? I mean, you could say, well, the Presidential Records Act demands that, but the Presidential Records Act doesn't have any enforcement mechanism. It doesn't even have any penalties. So, exactly, Mueller time. I think that you have to remember that even if Trump is indicted, he has that security footage. He would use that security footage in a court of law. That is an important, I think that's an important, I'm going to do a segment on that tomorrow morning. I think that's very, very important. If they indict him, they're going to say, well, he removed the documents unlawfully. And then the defense will be, you knew that he had these documents for 1.5 years, going on 2 years. You knew that because we have you on security footage looking at those documents. And if they did anything that was against protocol in August, he has them in security footage also. So that's pretty important. He also has a thank you note from the Bureau. That's also important. So, I'm reading some of the chat. You look, ladies and gentlemen, and it's the Trump outrage machine is still up and running. So, and Jordan, thank you so very much. To my super chat, thank you. I can't thank you enough, ladies and gentlemen. G. Corber, hello. The Trump outrage machine. DMC, hello. It's still running. And you look, and it's like, they're almost, you know what? It could be also this, they could be preparing half the country to justify going after Trump and actually indicting him. Because there are going to be even Democrats saying, wow, you indicted a former president. That's nuts. You indicted him on something that you were negotiating with him about. So it's going to be very difficult to, like, you have secret servers running outside the U.S. government, siphoning classified data, and nobody's talking. Look, I want a Hillary Trump 2024, but nobody's talking about that now. Nobody on the planet, aside from myself and maybe a couple people on Fox News, is talking about Clinton's servers. Nobody cares about that anymore. Nobody cares about that. The reason people will start caring is if they indict Trump for classified data, they'll look at President Obama's administration and made a complete mockery of classified. Uma Abedin on those laptops a week before, I mean, that was Comey's way of saying, hey, I have the goods on you. Okay, Comey went to bat for Clinton, but he also wanted Clinton to know that he had the goods. This is like what James Comey, in terms of the influence, political influence that he has, he was probably at that point even more powerful than a president, because he knows exactly how the data was siphoned or transferred outside the U.S. government. He's almost certainly he knows. He's not telling anybody. No, I can't believe that nobody in this country has ever asked how data was transferred outside the U.S. government. It's like this gigantic blind spot in American politics. Trump will probably ask that. He gets indicted, and it's like a gigantic spotlight on every criminal, like all the criminal activities of Democrats. And guess what? You don't need 6 years of investigating. You have Hunter's emails right there, and you have 150 suspicious financial transactions. Now, it's okay to set up meetings. It's not okay to set up meetings and then alter U.S. foreign policy, which they could very likely prove. Because you don't force out a prosecutor. Okay, the most absurd rebuttal is that people wanted that prosecutor out because he wasn't going after corruption. It's like, it is a corrupt act to force a prosecutor out when you're not an official within that country, when you're not part of the judiciary within that country. You can't just force out government officials in other countries because you don't like them. You can't just do that. You can't just say, I don't like this person, and then coincidentally have a family member working for the corporation on the board of directors, then you don't even speak the language of the country. It's like you're on the board of directors of a company because of your connections and knowledge. So knowledge is crossed out, and it's because of his connections. So Cheryl, because they're going to say that he wasn't authorized to remove it. They're going to say that he wasn't authorized to remove the classified data. And his rebuttal also the defense could also be, look, it was a chaotic exit. I did not pack the boxes. My staff packed the boxes. There was no intent to deliberately take these documents. So I think there's a lot, in terms of defense, he could say a million different things, and they wouldn't be able to convict him. Also, it's very interesting because they're the ones who actually commit crimes. You can indict Joe Biden on doing business with Hunter's business associates as vice president. You can't meet the business associates of a person like Hunter as vice president. That's against the law. You can't just do that. You can't go in the West Wing and meet these people. There's no record. Where's the official record? Where is there an example of Jared Kushner meeting with anyone on the planet wanting a favor from Trump and Trump delivering on that favor? Because one example is that forcing out of the prosecutor. The rebuttals, he did the world a favor because all the smartest people in the world said that specific prosecutor wasn't addressing corruption within his country. It's not the responsibility, nor is it the right of an American citizen to tell any country what to do with government officials. It's never happened before. And when he bragged about it, he said, the officials in that country said I don't have the right. And I said, well, call President Obama. He even stated, go ahead and call President Obama. You'll find out. He did himself in with that statement. But see, compare that lie to Trump and crowd size. Compare that lie with Comey's, although there's evidence of potential violations of the statutes regarding the handling of classified information, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case. And then Carter Page, Carter Page has done everything by the book. Carter Page was wronged by the U.S. government. And a judge just recently said, it's true that they were utilizing false information against Page, but you can't prove that individual FBI officials, looked over the FISA warrants themselves. Something absurd like that. It's like, are you kidding me? That's why we need the Durham Probe Special Counsel to start, widening its scope big time. And the thing is, that's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to have a huge pendulum. Like, the pendulum is going to shift big time. Like, big time. Once you get the House of Representatives, as, the Senate, the Senate would be wonderful. I think that it's going to be a lot closer in the Senate than Democrats think. They'll have a tougher time. Democrats will have a tougher time in the Senate. Could very well go. It might barely stay Democrat, but I think it'll probably go Republican. I'm not banking on the Senate right now. I think that it'll probably go Republican. The House for sure. It's September right now, September, October. The next 2 months are not going to be good for the economy, ladies and gentlemen. The next 2 months are not going to be good. So, there's only so much. Like right now, they have extracted every ounce of political utility, every public relations advantage that they have, like within the last week and a half or so. Because they focused only on January, the January committee, which found nothing, by the way. They were supposed to indict him on that. See, that once that didn't work, once they realized that didn't work, then Democrats and mashed potato brains got the Bureau to raid Mar-a-Lago. Then that was very bizarre. That was a boost for Democrats, but it was a greater boost for Republicans. You see, you have people like Lindsey Graham, and he's like testifying in Georgia for that probe. They don't have. This is why all these investigations are taking years. They don't have an actual crime. Trump is the only person in American history that has been investigated to find a crime. Nixon, you knew there was a break-in. And they keep saying, like, only the biggest imbecile on the planet would say that this is worse than Watergate. Watergate was an actual break-in. Nothing Trump did was an actual crime. Any leap of logic that, well, he told people to commit crimes. No, he didn't. That's why you haven't indicted him yet. The only thing they can actually indict him on, but not convict him, is the removal of classified data. But they couldn't convict him because he's a president. And then when they're saying, well, nobody's above the law. Oh, yeah, look at Hunter and Hillary. And Joe. I mean, nobody in media is talking about the New York Post articles. He met with people in the West Wing. So, I mean, you have it right here. You can indict Joe just for that. Here. There you go. Joe met with energy execs with ties to Hunter in 2014. Where is the transcript? If you have a government meeting where you have the Vice President of the United States of America meeting with energy executives, where's the transcript? Thank you, Jordan B. I love Kash Patel. Jordan B. Curious, what are your thoughts on Kash Patel name not being redacted from the affidavit? Love Kash Patel. I think he's one of the bravest Americans we have in this country now. I have only the utmost respect for this man. I have only the utmost respect for Kash Patel. A brave, courageous, noble individual who's going up against a very, very nasty and corrupt monstrosity. Jordan B., they're just trying to, I actually saw an interview of him. They're just trying to intimidate him and silence him. It's not working. So, it's not working. But yeah, Jordan B., they just, that whole thing, ladies and gentlemen, and then he has that Peter Strzok came out and like went after him, which is really hilarious because Peter Strzok is how many times in U.S. history do you have someone's text message that says we'll stop an incoming president? Let me see something real quick. Kash Patel. I just want to read this really quickly. See, they should have it's interesting when you have Democrats and there's something that's a security issue, and Jordan B, and they say, "Oh my God, these people are going to get somebody hurt," but apparently they don't care if, God forbid, any Republican or Trump Republican suffers. So that's the thing. And then you get it's just non-stop vitriol. So Kash Patel is fantastic, and they're just trying to intimidate him. They're just trying to intimidate him. That's it. That's it. They're just trying to intimidate. Man, they're you're talking about a political side that is so nasty. They don't even have. There's no proportion. They don't realize that they simply don't care. They spilled the beans, or one person in particular, a very respected, world-renowned atheist, very respected man, very intelligent, who said, "Oh, it doesn't matter. I don't care if people were losing their life in a basement. I don't care if there's graft or kickbacks. What Trump did in Trump University was worse." It's okay, now we understand. This is the level, Jordan, thank you. They think that anything. They think that's why all the friends who disown me because I support Trump, because I support a great economy and a great foreign policy, and I can delineate between Trump and the media obsession. Here's an example. Trump, he disparaged this person. And it's yeah, okay, but he got us out of 2 theaters of war. No accolades for that. Not even a thank you from liberals who used to be anti-war. But anyway, and it was Biden who voted to get Americans into these places, okay, alongside the Bush administration. But see, again, all they care about is public relations. But when that very brilliant atheist basically spilled the beans saying, yeah, it doesn't matter what they do against Trump or anyone around Trump, it's always warranted. So Jordan B, they don't care. They have, and honestly, when you look at it, ladies and gentlemen, and Jordan and everyone here, they're using everything they have at their disposal, and it's still not really working. Social media algorithms prevent everybody, including myself, from really speaking my mind. I mean, I speak my mind as much as I can. Basically, I am myself, but there are so many sacred cows that we have to, eggshells that we have to tiptoe around, and sacred cows that we have to make sure not to break. And that's social media algorithms making sure that, Democrats benefit. They can actually, BuzzFeed can publish nonsense about Trump. Absolute nonsense. And that's okay. But Twitter, if you go ahead and a number of topics, oh my God, it's a big problem. Oh my God, it's then now a big problem. So you look, ladies and gentlemen, and it's only going to get worse. I think that I look at this channel and H.A. Goodman said, by the way, I have to thank you all very much. I really mean this. AJ, thank you so much. I really mean this. I want to thank everybody. Well, obviously, the Super Chat and Jordan, everybody here, but thank you for helping me get H.A. Goodman's other channel over 20,000 subs. And thank you for helping me get the Stock Market Crash channel over 5,000 subs. And thank you for, we're at 198,500 subs, around 500 subs. I only need 1,500 subs to get to 200,000, and I did it only with your support, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't join a $20 million venture capital funded monstrosity. You know, I had Luke St. Martin and Eric H526 as moderators, and we've done endless live streams, creating with Wingless. Thank you. I hope all is well. I did this with your help, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not a part of any, big like conglomerate or, thank you, Smokey. Thank you. Global. Thank you. I'm doing it with your help. It's just, everybody, JG, Paul Bartlett, they're not here, but Jane, hello, right now, but they're always here for the live streams, and it's like, it's just my writing that I've slowed down on the past year and a half or so. But thank you, AFTM. Thank you so much. Thank you. But I can't thank you enough, ladies and gentlemen, really. I mean, it really means a lot to me. In a way, I know it's bizarre. It's almost like therapy. So it's like therapy for me. Hopefully it could be, therapeutic or cathartic in some manner to listen to me or to listen to my thoughts because, not many people. How many people, and like people on the left will laugh at this, which I don't care at all, but they find this very amusing. Be like, oh yeah, we knew he was a Trumper from the beginning. It's like, how many people on YouTube at one point was labeled the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. S23, you remember? That's on my website. You have to understand, when I was writing, and the Huffington Post editors, and God bless them. I love everybody, like the editors at Salon, the editors of the Huffington Post. I have only respect for them. They allowed me to voice my, because everything I wrote turned out to be very accurate. I said Clinton would lose to Trump. And at that point, only Bernie Sanders could have defeated Trump. Thank God Trump won. Bernie wouldn't have gotten us to record low in unemployment, but also in poverty. The whole point to being a socialist or a democratic socialist is to alleviate poverty, to protect the working class or to help them lead a better life. Well, what do you think Trump did? Anatya, thank you so very much. Thank you, Global Roamer. Thank you. All right, let's see. Hold on 1 second. So, can you hear me now? Anatya, thank you so very much. But you know what? Everything is always, well, Trump said this, like, well, but he did great things, though. Who cares what he says? He's mean. He insults people. So what? He's a great president. He was a great president when they allowed him little moments where he could actually serve as a president. But I always want to thank everybody because it's a pleasure and it's a true honor to be able to speak to so many wonderful people and are and outlandish. The engineer, thank you. Thank you, the engineer. Greatly appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. God bless you all. The engineer, thank you so much. Everybody here, Eric, Luke Shane Martin, Jordan, G. Corber, everyone here, thank you. It's acting up a little bit.